slides, but more like an announcement. I made a test bed for triple stores for the back end, so I created a virtual machine. Sorry? Oh, right. So I made a virtual machine that contains 4-store, Allegrograph, Virtuoso, and triple store connector. And if you start the virtual machine, all the 4 services are started automatically. So I made init and startup scripts for that. Now, I found probably it's interesting that 4-store. The main problem I had was the IPv6 thing. You really had to get it really off the machine, or otherwise the dynamic DNS AFI would still catch the IPv6, so that was the main problem with that. Allegrograph, that's basically the first machine I started with, because France issues a VM, a Ubuntu VM, that has a max of 50 million triples, so that's just big enough to do some nice testing and experiments. The triple store connector, the enterprise one we all know, and Virtuoso I put on. And what I did, I took the code from Benedict and I tried to make it into another type like the 4-store connector that Marcus made. So I put that on as well, and probably we can look a little bit at it to make it better working. So basically I have a USB key here with me, and everybody that wants can make a copy. There is a zipped version that's 3.8 I think gigs, and if you don't want it zipped, it's like 10 gigs. So everybody who wants to start testing with the RDF backends, I think this is an easy way to start out. Basically, that's all I have to say. Probably there's one other thing I'd just like to talk about that is not really connected to this, but I think my 5 minutes are not finished, so I'm going to do so. And I'd like to point people to the AIDA project of France with the Allegrograph. AIDA is a project that's been made by MDocs. MDocs is the world's biggest telco billing companies. The telco sends information to MDocs and they bill the people. But also we have built a CRM system that's running on a triple store. And there's something like 4,000 triples per person. And last August we managed on one machine to put 1 trillion triples on it. And they've got a complete CRM system running on that. And the nice thing is we're aiming for China Telecom, and at that time they need 2 trillion triples to have all the customers of China Telecom in. So people that are not convinced about the capabilities of triple stores, of semantic technologies, probably it's very good to point them to the AIDA project of MDocs, because it's really convincing that you can do something useful with it. So this was the extra. This is all for me. So if you want to have a copy, or
what OS is the VM?
Sorry?
What OS is the VM?
Ubuntu 11.04. I have upgraded because I don't need a long-term. I don't need an LTE for that. So if you want, the first copy is being made now.
Just a question. Probably we can't put that on the web, right? Because it would be redistributing some.
I think France, we have to then connect to France. The other ones we could do. Virtuoso is actually just a statement installing Ubuntu. It's like a plugin that's on there. Triple store connector, once you've done it often enough, it's also quite simple. I mean, I can now install triple stores without installing, just manually. Allegrograph, I started out with the France virtual machine because it was the easiest way. And actually it was like answering your request for people to do some testing. That's why I started with that.
Great.
This is my questions.
But actually, if we had a version which we could just redistribute license-wise, we could also put it up somewhere.
I think I would not be too surprised if you take contact with France that they will allow it.
Okay.
I wouldn't be too surprised for that. But then it would be better probably if it comes from the community than from my company.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.